Welcome to Money Patrol User Guide video tutorial. For this video, you will be learning everything there is to know about Money Patrol's budget section. Let's get started. Budgets. The Budget Usage and Insight is a monthly or yearly spending plan that takes into account your income and expenses. This section allows you to create your expense or savings budget. It also helps you in keeping track of your spending on a daily basis in order to stay on track with your budget. To view your budget on a specific month, click on the drop-down menu button beside Budget to view only the budgets for the month you selected. While the drop-down menu beside Show allows you to select whether you want to view your merchant or category budgets. To create an expense budget for category, click Create Expense Budget. Click the drop-down menu button and choose an existing category or click Add New if you wish to create a new category for this particular budget. Then click the drop-down menu button beside Frequency to choose to have this budget on a weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. Lastly, enter the amount for this budget, then click Create Budget. The same goes for expense budget for merchant and expense budget for tag. Click on Create Expense Budget. Then click Merchant at the top if you want to create a merchant expense budget, or click Tag to create a tag expense budget. You can then fill in the necessary details for this budget, such as the merchant name or tag name, the frequency, and the amount for this budget. Then to save this budget, click Create Budget. And that's how you create an expense budget. Now to create a savings budget, click on Create Savings Budget. In the pop-up window, you can enter the name for the budget, select a tag, and enter the amount for this budget. Then click Create Budget. Note: savings budgets can be created based on tags that have been assigned for the transactions. Savings budgets will only apply to credit transactions with those specific tags. Please select an already assigned tag from the list or add a new tag that will be assigned to transactions. Expense Budget. This section displays your budgeted amount for expense in comparison to the amount you spent for a particular budget. In the expense budget's bar graph, the green bar indicates the amount spent for the budget, while the blue bar indicates the amount allotted for this budget. You can click on any of these bar graphs to view all transactions associated with the budget you created. A pop-up window will appear, displaying the total number of transactions associated with the budget you created, and all details for each transaction. You can hover your mouse pointer at any budget bar graph to see an overview of your budget status and the number of transactions within that budget. In the table for Budget Summary, you will see the title of the budget, the budgeted amount, and the amount spent for this budget. The table also shows you the remaining amount you can use before exceeding your budget, and a percentage for the amount spent. The status for each budget will also be displayed on this table. Budgets with a green circle status indicate that you are on track with your budget. Budgets with an orange circle status indicate that you are almost reaching the allotted amount for your budget. While budgets with a red circle status indicate that your spending has exceeded your budget. On the other hand, the Modify column allows you to edit and delete an expense budget. Click on the pencil icon, and in the pop-up window you will be able to make changes to this budget. If you wish to delete a budget, simply click on the trash bin icon, and that budget will be permanently deleted. Note: if you rename the budget, only the transactions that have the new name as the category, merchant, or tag will be shown for this budget. Click an existing budget on the table to view all transactions associated with this budget. The expense budget pie chart shows the percentage of the budgeted money you have spent, and the amount you have left to spend. This also highlights the fact as to which merchant and category have exceeded the budget and by how much. Savings Budget. The savings budget is a budget based on your income. This allows you to set a budget only on transactions coming into your accounts. The budget summary for the savings budget includes details such as the name and tags for the budget, the allotted budgeted amount, the amount currently saved, the remaining amount to be saved to reach the budget, and a percentage of the saved amount. You will be able to edit your savings budgets under the Modify column. When you click on the pencil icon, you will be able to make changes to this budget in the pop-up window. And if you wish to delete a budget, simply click on the trash bin icon. A weekly budget is the amount of money you set to spend each week, while a yearly budget is an amount you set aside to spend annually. Setting up a yearly budget allows you to see where you stand financially and assists you in developing successful long-term financial plans. You can create a new weekly or yearly expense budget by clicking on Create Budget. In the pop-up window, there are 3 tabs where you can choose whether you want to create a category, merchant, or tag expense budget. Choose the type of budget you want, then enter the necessary information for this budget. Then, to save this new budget, click Create Budget. ZeroSum Budgeting. ZeroSum Budgeting will help you discover areas where you overspend and prevent you from doing so in the future. This helps you be aware of your expenses that weren't included in your budget. The table and bar graph displays your current month's income as well as your budgeted and unbudgeted expenses. While the pie graph only shows you the equivalent percentage for your budgeted and non-budgeted expenses. Budgeted versus non-budgeted transaction list. This transaction list assists you in distinguishing between budgeted and unbudgeted transactions. You can use the search bar to look for specific transactions, or you can limit the number of entries displayed on the transaction list. The transaction list displays information such as the transaction date, amount, merchant name, and category, as well as the institution associated with the transactions. You will also be able to view and modify the transaction type. Click the drop-down menu to select a transaction type. To determine whether a transaction has been budgeted or not, go to the budgeted column. Transactions that have been budgeted have a green checkmark, while those that have not been budgeted have an X mark icon. Each transaction status is indicated in the verified column. Each transaction is marked as not verified or not reviewed by default. Click Not Verified to change the status of your transactions. The pop-up window will display the transaction details and allow you to modify them. For example, if you want to change the transaction's merchant name, enter the new merchant name by clicking the pencil icon. When you're done, click the checkmark to update the merchant name. Then at the bottom, you can change the transaction status to reviewed or review later. You can narrow down the transactions you wish to view, based on their status, or the dates they occurred. You can also move around by clicking the arrow buttons to see the other transactions. Under the Action column, you will also be able to modify your transactions. Click the check icon to mark a transaction as reviewed, while the pencil icon allows you to edit your transaction details. The split transaction icon allows you to split transactions and the trash bin icon to delete transactions. You can refer to the transactions tutorial video for further information on editing and splitting transactions. And this is it for budgets. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please watch the other user guide videos to learn more about Money Patrol.